Hello, Ken. Here is my post-game video for the Michigan State Spartan versus Western Kentucky Hilltopper game. And I gotta start by saying, can I call it or what? Man, I might start to get a big head if I keep going at this rate. Before I get into too much of my reaction, remember to like, subscribe, comment, and hit that notification bell down below. I do greatly appreciate it. Yeah, I called it. What can I say? I called it 17. I picked Michigan State by 17. Go watch my pregame video if you don't believe me. And that's exactly what they won by, 17 points. Like I said in that pregame video, I was not concerned about Western Kentucky at all. I know they have a good explosive offense, but an offense alone is not enough. And I believe that Michigan State's defense would be able to generate more stops than Western Kentucky's defense could. That's exactly what happened. It's just that simple. Michigan State's got the better players, they executed better, and the results show on the field. Now I gotta say I was a little bit off on my Kenneth Walker prediction. I did say he'd go over 150 yards. He didn't quite get there. He got 126. And I said he'd get at least 2 touchdowns, which he ended up getting 3. So I was a little off on that prediction, but you can't hold that against me. Come on. I was right on the money on the points. Yeah, I figured it was probably going to be a high-scoring game. Like a team like Western Kentucky that executes offensively at that level, you're only going to stop them so many times. You have to accept the fact that they're going to get their points. They are a very explosive, very well-run offense, but defensively, they're not that good. I said in my pregame video that I felt like if Michigan State could win in the trenches on both sides of the ball, they had nothing to worry about, and they went out and did exactly that. So, yeah, nothing really to worry about in this one. I also want to, okay, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say that the officiating was wrong on one side or the other, but the Big Ten officials, what is going on? They've been terrible for years now. There were a lot of bad calls on this game against both teams. I'm not trying to say one team got an advantage because of officiating. I'm just saying the officiating is terrible. When do we start to, when do we start saying we need better? Because honestly, there's just a lot of questionable calls on both sides. Somebody needs to tell the officials we're not there to watch them, okay? We want to see the game. Stay out of it. A little rant about officiating. I haven't cared for the officiating in the Big Ten for a few years. But it is what it is. It's not like one team got an advantage. I just feel like they're throwing flags that are questionable or don't even need to be thrown. Slowing down my games. But, yeah, Michigan State, what can I say? They executed well. Also, I've been praying and calling for them to get Jalen Nailor involved earlier in games with bubble screens and jet sweeps, and that's exactly what they did. It's about time. And it helped, right? He stayed productive throughout the majority of that game. Like, that's what he needs. I don't know what it is. Reed is your steady as she goes guy, right? Reed's always going to be there. He's always going to make plays. He's always going to find ways to get open. But Naylor's more streaky, and I feel like they need to continue to do that with him. Continue to get him involved early, and that'll pay off big dividends for your offense. You got to give the defense a lot to think about. Reed and Naylor can be playmakers. So yeah, I was very, very happy to see that they got him involved early. They got Kenneth Walker more carries than they did against Nebraska, which is always good. And yeah, I was just really happy with the play calling overall. Really great job. Peyton Thorne really continues to play at a high level. Still impressed with him. Still playing great football, making good decisions. The quarterback draw for a touchdown, fantastic call. Well executed by the offense. Yeah, I was just, the defensive play calling was solid, and they did what they had to do. You slow down Western Kentucky, you get a stop here and there, and you don't get down on yourself or discouraged when they get points. They're going to get points. That's the kind of offense that they have. So you absorb the blows, and you trust in your offense to put up points as well and take care of business. I guess we'll go through the position groups. See, there isn't a lot for me to say negatively, so we'll just go through it. Peyton Thorne, like I said, played a really nice game. He's playing at a high level right now, and he's just not slowing down. Continues to make the right decisions from the pocket. He'll take off and run when he has to, and he's shown his mobility. He's not the fastest guy in the world, but you don't have to be. He's enough to keep the defense honest, to keep them guessing, keep them thinking about him when he drops back to pass, or when they run those read option looks. So he does enough, and he's executed at a high level. So I don't really have anything bad to say about Peyton Thorne. He's doing a great job. The running back group, same thing. I can't think of anything negative to say. They're just playing really well. If I had to point to one thing, and this goes hand in hand with the offense, is that the pass blocking, there's still communication issues, and I'm not really sure what's causing that, or what the problem is there. If it's guys just not seeing things on the field, or if it's the defense doing a good job of confusing the guys on offense, whatever it is getting better. Let me just say it is getting better. They're definitely not getting pressure like they were, just a couple games ago. So it's getting there, but there are still times where not quite where it needs to be yet. It could be better. Wide receiver group doing a really good job. I think getting Naylor involved like they did this week, call play specifically for him, will do two things for you. It will help get Naylor obviously involved in the offense and keep him involved. It will also, these are easy bubble screen throws that help get Peyton Thorne and Naylor and the offense in rhythm. It doesn't always have to be down the field throws, and it also helps spread the defense horizontally. So you make the defense cover sideline to sideline, and everything gets that much more difficult for them. So I really like the game plan coming into this one. I've been saying for a couple weeks now that they need to get Naylor more involved, especially by doing easy passes early on, jet sweeps, those sort of things, because he can be a dynamic playmaker, and you do want him involved in your offense. And the fact that he was not even on the stat sheet last week against Nebraska is criminal. Got to get him involved, got to keep him involved, and if that means calling plays specifically for him, then fine, do that. I mean, you do the same thing for your running backs, so I don't see an issue there at all. So I hope they continue with that moving forward. I think Trey Mosely playing in the slot's done a really good job as well. I haven't talked about him much, but honestly, and that's mostly because he doesn't really make big plays, so by the time the game's over, it's like, oh yeah, Trey Mosely had a pretty solid game. But you don't really think about, he's kind of an afterthought because he's not making those big splash plays. But he's made a lot of good catches for first downs. He's found a way to get open in the slot. He works well with the space that he's given. And yeah, I just think he's done a really nice job. He's pretty reliable hands, so it's a good guy to have operating in your slot. Connor Hayward had a couple of drops today. Everybody has a bad game now and then. I'm not gonna grill him too much on that. Just a few drops here or there. But overall, I continue to think that his adjustment to tight end H-back has been really solid. He's completely bought in. It shows. And I like the little wrinkles that they use with him. Put him in the backfield a little bit and run some, just give him a handoff every now and then. He's got that skill set. So, yeah, I like what I'm seeing out of the offense. They're being multiple. They're giving the defense different looks and lots of things to think about. So, all good there. Offensive line, the run blocking looked pretty solid. They could have scraped to the linebacker a little bit more. Western Kentucky's linebacker group did a pretty good job of being quick enough that it was hard for the offensive linemen to get up to that level and stay on them. That's just a minor thing. They did a pretty good job. I mean, Kenneth Walker had 126 yards and 3 touchdowns. You can win a lot of games doing that. So I'm just nitpicking here. I do think Michigan State played a really solid game. And they continue to play, at a high level, like I've said before, and playing mostly mistake-free football. They got a little bit sloppy every now and then. They had a few more penalties than usual, and I don't know if that's because homecoming crowd, you're all jacked up for the game, emotions run a little bit higher, so that could all play a part in it too. So I won't look into that too much. I'm just going to write that off as an anomaly unless they do that game after game and it starts to become an issue. And pass protection, which I already mentioned for the offensive line. Whatever the communication issue is, it's getting better, but it's not quite there yet. Still a few miscues. And they need to get those cleaned up before they really start facing some better pass rush teams. Defensively, defensive line continues to be the stalwart of that defense. They're doing a great job. They rotate quite a few guys in. They're always stout against the run. The pass rush wasn't quite there today. I felt like Western Kentucky's offensive line did a pretty good job in pass protection. I mean, Michigan State got there a few times. You know, we got home every now and then, but for the amount of times that we just ran a 4-man rush and then kind of settled back into coverage looks, the 4-man rush wasn't really able to generate consistent pressure. Every now and then they'd get there and make life miserable for the quarterback, but I would have liked to see it be a little more consistent. And I would have liked to see more blitz plays called. With an offense like Western Kentucky, I would rather attack that offense as opposed to sit back and try to drop guys into coverage. That's just that's a personal philosophy that I have versus what Michigan State chose to do in this one. I would rather come up and bump those smaller, bump the wide receivers and blitz some guys and just try to get to the quarterback before he can get rid of the ball and try to disrupt the timing of that offense. Western Kentucky runs, it's a very timing-based offense. It's pretty similar to a air raid-based offense with the timing routes. So if you can disrupt that timing, that makes life a little bit more difficult. They chose to go the other direction, and that kind of highlighted the fact that the defensive line wasn't generating consistent pressure, but they still did a solid job. I'm just nitpicking, like I said before. These are just minor things. Like it's not like they never got to the quarterback. They certainly got home on occasion, but a little more consistency, I think, would be a big boon for this defense. Linebackers, I'm still a little concerned about the linebacker group. I feel like they're doing their job well enough, but could be better. Somebody's got to step up, be a leader, be a playmaker, be a difference maker in this defense. There's just too many times where if the running back gets to that second level, there's just not a big play being made. Occasionally the linebacker will be there to make the stop. Sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not. But even when they are there, they're not really laying big hits on anybody, and the running back's usually picking up another yard or two. So I'd like to see somebody from that group just get more aggressive, be a playmaker, come downhill, fill the hole aggressively. And just, I think that's really the next step for this defense, to take it to another level. If you can get one of your inside linebackers there to really start sticking some running backs, that could change the way this defense operates a little bit as well. Corners tested a lot today. The secondary, I'll just do the secondary as a whole, tested a lot today. Xavier Henderson continues to flash his playmaking ability. He was great in pass protection and against the run. I believe that two of the best safeties in the country both play in the state of Michigan. I think Xavier Henderson at Michigan State and Daxton Hill at Michigan, two of the best safeties in the country. They're phenomenal. They're both playmakers. The corners, I thought, held up pretty well today. Like I said, a team like Western Kentucky is dynamic, and I don't think in today's college football landscape that you're going to stop an offense like that all the time. You're never going to shut a team like that out. But they made enough stops and made life generally difficult enough to get stops and to force some punts. And I feel like even when it was a good throw on the wide receiver, the corner was close enough to break that pass up, or to dislodge the ball after the wide receiver grabbed it, or just generally keep the wide receiver honest. They did a great job against Western Kentucky's screen game. I feel like the corners and the safeties, whoever was out there, sometimes it varied, but the defenders that were out there did a great job on the edges, really fighting through that wide receiver block to get to the receiver, catching the screen pass. So I was really pleased with that. Thought they did a great job being aggressive out there and getting after it, and that really helped to disrupt what Western Kentucky wanted to do. Coughlin had a nice day. I feel like he's starting to settle down and come back around to where he was at a couple years ago. He started the season a little bit rough. He missed some field goals. But lately he's really settled down quite a bit, so hopefully he can keep that going. I think his kicking's been much better. Punting's been fantastic. I haven't talked about special teams much at this point. I should also mention the return game with Reed being dynamic back there and getting touchdowns. That's such a weapon to have. But the punting, I haven't talked about the punting at all, but that's been really nice too. It's a great way to flip the field and really put your defense into a position to be successful. So great job by the punter, the punt coverage team, everybody looking solid there. So I think that's pretty much going to wrap this one. You know, I just wanted to highlight some of the things we did good, some of the things that we could do a little bit better. But overall, you know, the game played out pretty much the way I expected it to. Nothing really surprised me much in this one. I felt like we just played good football and we took care of business. And anybody that thought Western Kentucky was going to win this game is crazy. You are crazy. I just want to say that. I just watched some of the college pregame show and they were talking about, you know, Michigan State's got to be careful because Western Kentucky's offense. I don't care about your offense. If you don't have a defense, it don't matter. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Getting after it a little bit, but no, I didn't have any doubts about Michigan State winning this one. I wasn't worried about Western Kentucky at all, truthfully. You can go check my pregame video. Wasn't concerned at all, and my boys won by 17, like I said. So let's keep this season rolling, and hopefully we will continue to take down each team that we face as we face them. So that'll wrap this one. Remember, all love, all the time. Peace.